I ask credit what 100% fact is the hardest to believe.
That only 6 people have survived rabies. Rabies has a 99% mortality rate. You can have rabies for an entire year without symptoms, and once you have symptoms, it's already late. You'll probably die in a couple of days if you have symptoms.
There is enough water in Lake Superior to cover North and South America in water 1 foot deep. Dragonflies accelerate at up to 4G and corner at up to 9G. Dragonflies are also the most efficient hunter, catching up to 95% of prey. The Australian funnel web spider is often regarded as the world's deadliest and hasn't had a confirmed kill in over 40 years since the antivenom was created. No trace, no witnesses. We call that a professional. President Jimmy Carter rappelled into a nuclear reactor that was in partial meltdown to stop the meltdown and save Ottawa. Before he became president, of course. Just looked it up, that was the Chalk River facility, quite a bit to the north of Ottawa, about 1.5 hours away. Ottawa did have a small nuclear reactor for a while in what is now a place called Tunney's Pasture. I was confused when reading your comment, thinking Jimmy might have saved that reactor, haha. In 1995, a man named MacArthur Wheeler robbed 2 banks at gunpoint. He was arrested mere hours later because he didn't wear a mask. Instead, he decided to coat his face in lemon juice because he read that lemon juice can be used to make invisible ink. His logic was that it would make his face invisible. And reportedly, he said to one of the tellers, "Don't worry, I have a face. It's just invisible." The only thing he did when he was arrested was sigh dejectedly and say, "But I wore the juice." His case is actually still in academic journals regarding the fact that people with low intelligence do in fact believe that they're smarter than everyone else. This man was 45 fucking years old. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Roughly by a factor of 10. I think I heard somewhere that 150 years ago a squirrel could go tree to tree from the Mississippi River all the way to the East Coast without having to touch the ground. The loudest sound in recorded history was the Krakatoa volcanic eruption of 1883. It ruptured the eardrums of people more than 40 miles from the epicenter, created a sound wave that circled the globe 7 times, and could be heard all the way in New York City, a short 10,000 miles away. I still do not understand how this is possible. And how we haven't been able to hear something similar since.
Well, the Krakatoa eruption occurred because the volcano basically broke a hole open in underwater. Seawater rushed in, flashed to steam, but was, briefly, contained by the weight of all the rock and mass of much of the top of the mountain. So the pressures that built up inside the mountain as all this steam pressed against rock continued until it basically shattered the mountain from the inside out. The conditions that created Krakatoa were rather rare, and hopefully aren't going to be repeated anytime soon. For 60 million years, there was no bacteria, fungus, anything to decompose trees. They just got crushed under the weight of other dead trees. This is where about 90% of coal comes from. The circulatory system, arteries, veins, and capillaries, is more than 60,000 miles long. Out of all comments so far, this one really is hard to believe.
Lightning bolts can reach temperatures 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. But 90% of people struck by lightning survive. That's wild. So are you saying there's a 90% chance of humans surviving the surface of the sun? I'll go there during night to be safe. No, because it's not as hot as lightning. Your chance of surviving increases to 450%. Integer overflow, you actually have a minus 100% chance of dying, which equals like definitely dying. I think. Scientists of Trinidad and Tobago say they won't be going in the day, they'll be going in the night.
The math checks out. And 100% of the people not getting struck by lightning dies. So far only about 93% of all people that have ever lived have died. My aunt is one of them. Got struck from a stray bolt walking to her mailbox in the 90s. She had no long-term effects from it besides this small burn on her back that never healed. She said she remembered opening the front door, then waking up in the hospital bed. I can't imagine how bizarre that would feel. I'd love to know what it's like, not just descriptions of the experience. As a vet tech, I learned that when a dog has an eye ulcer, we draw their blood and spin it down and take the serum to use as eye drops. We put dogs' own blood in their eyes to heal it.
The Appalachian Mountains are older than the Atlantic Ocean. Michael Jackson's hair caught fire on January 27, 1984, which was the exact midpoint of his life. We only see 0.0035% of the universe around us because of our ability to only see visible light.